but if there is, you will hear a sound. Yeah? You hear the rhythm of sharp pulses, sharp rises of microwave intensity with a little draft in between. And it gives me a measurement here. Right now here in front of me, the measurement is around 20 microwatts per square meter. Anything over 1 has a biological effect and is considered damaging to my health. Anything over 50 is catastrophic. Anything under 1 is today considered an acceptable level. So I will measure this bed location here. I know the person that sleeps here sleeps with the head in this area here, and I will measure the location and the exposure of the brain of the person that would sleep in this bed. So I'm scanning. So the value goes up to about 60 here. I'm reading the dial. Here it goes over 300. And then over here in this corner is around 90. And so, assuming that the person sleeps somewhere in the middle of the bed, this is unfortunately where the radiation is the strongest. It is over 500 in this area. I'm going to switch this off and explain a little bit. So if a person sleeps in this area with their head, legs down that way, the person would get over 500-fold the exposure of microwave that is considered safe. So now I want to give a demonstration what happens when we use what we call the sleep sanctuary. It's a silver-coated mosquito net that is draped on all sides of the bed. Let's do that and then see what happens. So this goes falls nicely on all sides of the bed. When this is installed properly, there is no gaps allowed in rigging this up. I firmly believe that everyone living in the United States or anywhere in Western Europe needs this contraption to remain healthy. The microwave is greatly disturbing the brain rhythms, the intrinsic rhythms of the brain. It greatly disturbs neurotransmitter production. It greatly alters the pineal gland, which produces our melatonin. Greatly disturbs sleep. Greatly disturbs short-term memory and all the higher brain functions. So I will climb inside this and repeat the measurements. So I will climb inside this silver-coated canopy now and repeat the same measurements. Here I go. It's important to close all the gaps at night. The cloth permits air to flow through very easily, and I switch on my instrument. It is first self-adjusting, and what you hear now is the disappearance of the pulsing tone because the incoming cell phone radiation is no longer coming in. It's blocked out by the net. So I'm going to go over the same areas that we just measured. I get a reading here of 0.1 milliwatts per square meter, and it stays pretty much consistently the same. It disappears to 0. It fluctuates between 0 and 0.1. I'm measuring all across where I measured before, and you see a complete disappearance, or you hear a complete disappearance of the pulse tone, and that means I reduced the measurement that were in parts here over 300 microwatts per square meter to less than 0.1, which means I'm now safe to sleep here. This is true for every bedroom in America. Most physicians, when making the diagnosis of Lyme disease, rush into using antibiotics with the intent to eliminate the microbes from the body. Now, that works quite well in people that have been recently infected and works well in a subgroup of people that are chronically infected. The patients that typically are referred to me are patients that have failed the antibiotic treatment. So we've got into looking how to treat this illness in other ways. And the first thing that I try to learn is the answer to these questions. What are the mechanisms that the microbes are using to establish themselves in the human organism? We have a very evolved immune system. How are they evading it? And we looked at the variety of mechanisms like molecular mimicry and some of the more well-known and well-published opinions that came up in the last few years. We found out that there is a number of mechanisms that are less known that seem to be more significant. And I'd like to highlight here one of them that tests so frequently in patients that has become my main strategy in a chronic ill patient who is suspected of having Lyme disease. This condition that is associated with this is called cryptopyrroluria, or in the more modern terms, hemopyrrolactamuria. And so I want to explain that a little bit. There's a compound in our system called heme. It's a molecule that in hemoglobin is part of the system that helps us to carry oxygen into the system. The heme molecule is also used in the cytochrome P450 liver detox pathway, so it's an important substance in our detoxification system. Now, the Lyme spirochetes have discovered the following. To make heme, we need 8 enzymes. And the Lyme spirochetes use a molecular messenger molecule to block one of these enzymes. And that leads to the loss, to the imperfect creation of some of these heme molecules. And the imperfect molecules are referred to as cryptopyrroles, or more correctly, hemopyrrolactams. I'd like to take you through the cryptopyrrole phenomenon quickly in a couple of simple steps. So this condition was discovered in 1958 by Abraham Hoffer, or Abram Hoffer is his proper name, who studied schizophrenic patients and found in a significant number of them that they excreted these compounds in the urine. We're finding a high incidence of this condition in people with heavy metal toxicity, in patients with Lyme disease, then many, if not most, neurological illnesses. People test positive. It's a simple urine test that currently we only know one laboratory that's doing it. It's called Vitamin Diagnostics. And you see here one of our Lyme patients tested the level of the cryptopyrrole is at 67 here. Anything over 15 is considered abnormal. This was a patient who responded phenomenally well to the treatment that we ended up giving. You see from the published literature a relationship between the excretion of this compound, hemopyrrolactam, and vitamin B6. The more hemopyrrolactam is excreted in the urine, the more B6 is excreted along with it. So it's leading to large losses of vitamin B6. One of the first symptoms of that may be poor dream recall, but also numbness in both hands, especially at night, and hands are falling asleep is a common symptom. Carpal tunnel syndrome, thoracic outlet syndrome, various forms of neurological symptoms, mostly including numbness. The next picture shows the connection between the excretion of this compound and white blood cell zinc levels. Yeah, the more of this compound you excrete, the more you're depleting your white blood cells of zinc,